Hi everyone, welcome back to the Sports Breakdown. Sorry for the delay. It was supposed to be started at 4 p.m., but I got a bit delayed. But we are going to discuss the India versus South Africa second ODI review, and we brought alongside Kaustubh, who's the founder of the Third Man Cricket Show. We finally brought him along. So thank you so much, Kaustubh, for accepting the invite and finally coming along to the Sports Breakdown after many invitations being brought, but yeah, you were busy, so I understand that you weren't available all this time. Yeah, but finally good to see you back.
Yeah, I think pleasure is all mine, and thank you for not losing hope on me.
Yeah, no,
Lots
no
of time
worries.
we tried to schedule this, but
Yeah,
unfortunately could not. Thank you for
yeah,
not losing hope on me, and sorry for all
no,
the times
no,
that I
no
cancelled.
worries. Yeah, no worries. Anyways, that's fine. Yeah. Anyways, let's go and we'll be discussing about the IPL as well, the latest updates after this post-match analysis. But first, we'll go and do the full analysis of India versus South Africa. Please do subscribe to the Third Man Cricket Show if you haven't yet. I think you all must, who are viewing, must have already subscribed. But please do subscribe to Sports Breakdown as well if you haven't, and please like, comment, and share on this video. Yes. Without further ado, let's go on and analyze this match, especially the first innings. And obviously, we know South Africa won yesterday. They beat India by 7 wickets. Quinton de Kock was announced the man of the match. Your initial thoughts on this match, first of all, Kaustubh, especially the Indian innings, especially 287, you thought was that enough on this pitch, considering they said that 250 plus on this pitch can make the opposition team struggle to chase. So your thoughts, yeah.
I think initial reaction was, yeah, we got good enough on the board, because I think the last time any team chased was far long ago, and the most that was chased on this ground was 246, if I'm not wrong. So
Yeah,
initial phase was, or initial reaction was, yeah, that's great that we have got more than enough on the board. But as soon as the innings started and Quinton de Kock started to flow, we soon realized that it is not enough, and this pitch actually is something different than it seems on the surface. And the thrashing that our bowlers took, I think in the starting 20 or 50 overs, we already knew the result. The spark was not there
mm,
as a team,
true.
and I think even Indian team seems to like accepted the result or the fate of the team, that we are eventually gonna lose and we are just here to bowl out the 50 overs, and that's what the body language looked like.
Yeah. And Kohli, first duck, golden duck for him also after 2016, and especially the South African spinners triumphing over the Indian batsmen yesterday, especially Maharaj and Shamsi. What happened to Virat Kohli in that shot? Never expect him to get go out for a duck, especially after a solid opening partnership between Rahul and Dhawan. Kohli's dismissal, do you think that was a slight changing point over there? Whether they could have reached 300, because especially with his innings in the first innings, first match, he scored a half century. Getting out for a duck is it happens to any player, but especially that dismissal of Kohli, it was a very soft dismissal, especially. And your thoughts? I mean, he played well in the first ODI, but this innings from Kohli, yeah,
I think the credit has to be given to Temba Bavuma as a captain, because if you see the field placement, that was a perfect field placement. The ball went straight to the fielder's hand, and
yeah,
most of the times we have seen Kohli playing the same shot to the spinners, the flick, what
yes,
we can say on the offside.
yeah,
So it was a
yeah,
great shot, phenomenal field placement, and
mm,
Kohli fell for it. And as you said, most of the batsmen get out on the duck. That's not a concern.
yeah,
What's really concerning to me is that Virat Kohli seemed okay with it, and that's really out of the character. So usually when you see him getting dismissed, he's really pissed at himself. He's very angry. He's very emotional or animated, as most of
yeah,
us like to say.
yeah,
And he does not seem really happy that he played the shot. But that day, it seemed really other way. The spark has gone missing from him, and I'm really concerned, because I remember one quote that he said very long ago, that when I don't feel passionate enough, when the hunger is not there, I won't even pick up the bat. And I think the recent controversies or recent debacles that have been following him, that have seemed to really affect him.
mm,
Anyone can get out on zero, but the way he has been dismissed, or the way the lack of reaction, I would say, is really concerning to me.
yeah. And what are your thoughts on the opening partnership between KL Rahul and Shikhar Dhawan? Yes, especially KL Rahul getting a 50 finally at last on his captaincy. Your thoughts on that? The opening pair, I mean the 63 run partnership, and then KL Rahul going and getting a 50, but couldn't convert that to 100 after that. So your thoughts on that? Yeah,
I think they really played well. Shikhar Dhawan initially took the charge and tried to score quickly, and I think the saying goes like the age, he is like a fine wine. Shikhar
Yeah.
Dhawan at 35 is playing the role that we all expected him to play at 30 or 32. So he's not making life of Ruturaj Gaikwad any easier. He's
Hmm.
scoring the runs and giving
Yeah.
the opening partnerships really good.
Yeah.
And for KL, I think he started really well, but I think eventually somewhere he seemed lost because at one point I think KL was at 43 and even Rishabh Pant
Rishabh Pant,
was
yes.
at 40 or 30 odd. But when by
Hmm.
the time KL finished his innings, Rishabh Pant was already at 70 or 80. So midway somewhere, KL seemed lost. He could not decide whether to anchor the innings or to be the aggressor of the innings. And I think that
I
has
also
been
have,
case for
yeah.
KL also over the years.
Yeah, I also have a doubt over here. Rishabh Pant always comes ahead of Sheryas Iyer. We usually know that Sheryas Iyer is suited at number 4 and he usually struggles when he bats at number 5. A lot of people asking why is Rishabh Pant actually batting higher up than Sheryas Iyer, because Sheryas Iyer is not performing at number 5. You know, Rishabh Pant played a good innings yesterday, but the question is why is Sheryas Iyer in the side if he's not batting at number 4? Because a player like Sky, he can adapt anywhere and can bat at number 4, number 5, and can finish the innings for India. So your thoughts, because usually we know that Sheryas Iyer is like he can play as an anchor. He's not much of an aggressive player. We saw like in the
Yeah.
test, comparing the 2020 and test. I mean, 50 overs. He's not suited playing at number 5 in my opinion. So thoughts on that with the number 4 and number 5 shuffling for Team India.
In all honesty, that's also mystery for all of us, not just you. Even we are
Yeah,
wondering what Shreyas Iyer is doing at number 5 because clearly he's not suited for number 5 in at least ODIs and T20s as well.
yeah,
So that's a mystery for the whole country and whole nation. I can see why Rishabh Pant is being pushed at number 4 because they see potential in him and they want him for a longer run. But Shreyas
yeah,
Iyer at number 5 is a wrong match, I believe. And if you want someone to play at number 5, I think Surya Kumar Yadav is better fitted because he has an
yeah,
experience for being as a finisher. He can finish the game as well, and he has that what we can say unorthodox batting style. He can hit anywhere around the ground. India's 360, as they fondly call him. So if they want to stick with Rishabh Pant at number 4, I think Shreyas Iyer seems to lose his place in ODIs at number 5. Other than that, I think Sheryas Iyer can play at number 3 most likely if Virat Kohli is not gonna play the series or maybe resting. But Sheryas Iyer at number 5 is really odd match, and that's a marriage that's not gonna work for a long time, and that's really unfair on Sheryas Iyer as well. He's not a number 5 guy.
yeah. So anyone can ask questions. Whoever's viewing it, you can ask questions. Let's talk about Rishabh Pant, because I mean, we saw him scoring 100 now. Yesterday he scored a 85, very crucial knock, and then at the end Shardul Thakur and Ashwin contributing the runs and ensuring that India get 287. Especially Shardul Thakur 50 in the first ODI, second ODI he scores 40. Finally India got it right for him to bat at number 7 instead of Ashwin and called him as a batting all rounder. So thoughts on that? Yes.
Sorry, I could not get the last part. Can you just repeat it?
On Shardul Thakur, because
Yeah.
he batted above Ashwin, and then
Yeah.
I mean the Indian team put him as a batting all round, because in the first ODI I think Ashwin was pushed to number 7 and he was put as a batting
Yeah.
all round, and Shardul Thakur as a bowler. And then we saw how Shardul Thakur played that innings in the first ODI match and were close to winning that match against South Africa.
I think the Lord, as they fondly call him, Lord Shardul
Yeah,
Thakur, he has been
Lord
doing
Thakur,
wonders
yeah.
all over the world, down in Australia and now in South Africa. See, Shardul Thakur, if I think most of the people might not know this, but Shardul Thakur is an extremely confident individual. So if you talk to him, you will understand the kind of energy he runs with. And if
Yeah.
you look, most of the bowlers around Indian team, they have something of an arsenal of weapons that they carry. So Jasprit Bumrah has Yorkers, Bhuvneshwar Kumar, he'll carry the swing. But Shardul
Hmm.
Thakur, the main weapon of his is attitude, his mindset.
Yeah.
And most of the times he's very brash, not brash in a bad sense, but um, when people see big players, they usually get nervous, like, oh, this is a great player, I should be respecting. But for Shalu Thakur, if you're against him, if you're on the other side of the pitch, that's fair game. You're as good as me.
Yeah.
So Shardul Thakur, that's the what can I say, the secret recipe for his success. And coming back to batting in his domestic days, he was similar individual. Whenever he used to go to bat outside of the usual circumstances, he would just tong the ball, and that's what he always did. That's what he loved. And the funny incident once Sheryas Iyer narrated in What the Duck episode was that
Mm,
one time he tonged the ball, and the fielder dropped the catch, but the explanation that Shardul Thakur gave was, I already knew that he was going to drop the ball. So that kind of a mentality he carries. So whenever he will go out to bat, he's sure for knows what he's going to do. And I think
mm.
that's what gave him, earned him the promotion above Ravichandran Ashwin.
Yeah, true. Yes. Shankar here says too much of hype for Sheryas Iyer. Sky is a better player. Having captain DC, it's working out for him. Your thoughts on this? I mean, yes, Sheryas did captain DC, but then after that, I mean, he was demoted as captain, and eventually he's in the auctions now. But yeah, thoughts on this with Sheryas Iyer and Sky now on this spot? Yeah.
I think I partially agree with Shankara here. I do believe that Sky is a better player than Shreyas Iyer. But then again, if you put him in the wrong place, you won't get the result, right? If you ask a fish
Mm.
to run on the ground, that's not gonna work anytime. So I think
Yes.
that's really unfair for Shreyas Iyer to say that there is too much hype for him.
Hmm.
Let him play at number 3 or 4, and you might see some results.
Yeah, I agree. Yes. Ayan here also says Ruturaj deserves chance. Scores 4 centuries in Vijay Hazard Trophy before this series. Deepak Chahar is need of this team in place of Bhuvneshwar Kumar. We've also been talking about that. We'll talk about the bowling thing later. But about Ruturaj Gaikwad right now with KL Rahul, and KL Rahul's confirmed that he's going to open in all these three ODIs. It seems unlikely that Gaikwad will get a chance. But do you think at least in the future series he'll get a chance when Rohit comes back, or Gaikwad will have to wait for some time?
I think that's the tricky part. What he said, Ayan said, is really true. Ruturaj Gaikwad is in prime is of form. What we call it as really prime of a batsman. He is scoring centuries after centuries, knocking the door of the selection committee. But
Yes.
how are we gonna, what can you say, accommodate him in the team? India
Mm.
right now has too many options for opening slot. There is
Yeah.
Prithvi Shaw, there is Shubman Gill, Rohit Sharma, KL Rahul himself, and nowadays even Virat Kohli seems to be throwing his cap as an opener.
Yes.
Virat Kohli throwing his cap as an opener in T20s. So not really sure how we gonna accommodate him, but surely he
Mm.
deserves a chance. Not just certain how, because we don't know who he will replace. There are too many
Yeah.
options.
Very true. Yes. Let's go to the South Africa bowling, because I mean the spinners did a good job. I mean, Shamsi at six, and then Maharaj. Yeah, but maybe they could have gone a bit more towards. I mean, Maiden Markham. Why do Indian batsmen struggle a lot? I mean, not only India. I mean, lot of subcontinental teams struggle with this Adam Markram as a part-time bowler, and I don't know how to. I mean, question him as a part-time bowler with. How his economy has been in 8 overs. I don't think you can call Adam Markram a part-time bowler with how he's bowling in this series so far. And against Sri Lanka, also, I've seen Aidan Martin in the IPL also, he was bowling pretty well. So I don't think that we can call him a part-time bowler anymore. I mean, on Aidan Markram.
I think this has been a really curious case with not just subcontinent but teams across the world, and especially India. India has been really fond of making turning part-time bowlers into full-time bowlers and making them seem like all-rounders. So if you recall, because I really found it very, what can I say, horrible or a fatal incident. But at the start of the career of Moeen Ali in Test matches, he was
Yeah.
not considered as an all-rounder. He was just a batsman
Yes.
who could chip in few overs just so that the fast bowlers can rest meanwhile. And somehow, suddenly, India found a way to give him 7 wickets. And that's when the career of Moeen Ali changed. And then he became the all rounder Moeen Ali. Same case with Joe Root. We gave him wickets. We like to throw away our wickets for part timers, and especially to off spinning all rounders. And that's the case with Adam Makram as well. We gave him wickets. We gave him too much respect. And
Mm.
that's the result, 4.25, the most economical bowler for South Africa.
Yeah, very true. Mayan here says KL at four. Will he as captain, or after Virat? Sorry, Rohit Sharma comes back. Do you think KL Rahul can bat at number four, number five? Most of the people are saying he can bat at number five, if I'm not mistaken. KL Rahul as a finisher. But do
Yeah.
you think that KL Rahul will prefer batting in the middle order, since he has some kind of leadership role also in this team now, since no, we don't have Virat Kohli any longer as captain. So do you feel that he'll bat in the middle order, or like he'll be contending for the opening slot?
But yeah, for the rest of his life, he's gonna be contending for the number one spot. That is the opening spot. But the thing is, do team wants him at number five more than their team wants it on the opening slot? Because for opening slot, we have too many options. But if you see even the yesterday's match or the previous many matches for India, the middle order seems non-existent. We do have big names on the paper, but when you go on the ground and the performances speak for themselves, that there are no certain performances or no great performances. So
Yeah.
the team really needs KL at number five more than they need at opening spot, because at an opening spot many people are there to replace him, but at number five there are very few.
Hmm.
So most likely KL will be pushed down to number five, and that's a tough call. But if team needs it, like Rahul Dravid said, if team needs, we have to do it.
Yeah. And talking about the South African batting, especially Quinton de Kock, Bavuma, Markham, I mean, Van der Dusen also, especially that 132 run opening partnership. And talking about the Indian bowlers also, actually, especially with Bhuvneshwar Kumar, this is the biggest surprise. I thought Deepak Chahar will actually play yesterday instead of Bhuvneshwar Kumar, but they stick with him. Now, do you feel that Bhuvneshwar Kumar has actually passed his prime? Especially, we know he's good with the new ball,
Yeah,
but especially when it comes to his death bowling, Bhuvneshwar Kumar has really struggled compared to the rest of the bowlers. So, what will happen to Bhuvneshwar Kumar actually after this series? Does he have to go back to the domestic and find his form back to this team?
I think as you said in the very first line, he's past his prime, and I think the curtain call is there. Bhuvneshwar Kumar, as good as he has been, uh, it is end of the road for him, because there is no pace to carry him. Initially, when the swing was there, people were
Hmm.
really behind him because he could swing the ball either way, and it takes really a certain amount of time to get adjusted to the swing. But
Yeah.
after after his consistent injuries, the swing has also gone. And at 126, when you're bowling just straight, it's really easy for a top level batsman to score against you, and that's the case, or that was pretty evident when Quinton de Kock just started going after him. He was not even giving him enough respect, not for his pace certainly, and not even for the swing.
Hmm.
And I think Bhuvneshwar Kumar, it feels really sad to say, but I think it's time for him.
Yeah, very true. Yes. Shankar here says India need batting or bowling all rounders. Ashwin at 7 shows how poor her lineup is. Once Jaddu, Washi, Pandya comes in, will be better players. Yeah, especially they're missing Ravindra Jadeja a lot, especially with the right-handers. That left arm orthodox spin that he gives, especially would have made the right-hand batsmen like Bavuma and Van der Dusen struggle. Missing very key players like Rohit Sharma, Jaddu, Washington Sundar, and when these players come back, I don't know if Ashwin will have a place, and even Chahal also. I don't know if those two spinners will have a place in this side once these players come back.
I think Ashwin might find a place himself if the matches are going on in subcontinent, because then
Yeah,
then two spinners can play together. If they
true.
just place for one spinner, it's either Ashwin or Jadeja. And if Jadeja is firing all cylinders, there's no chance Ashwin is going to get place. So if subcontinent, then two spinners, then Ashwin can make a place. But Chahal, the man really needs to bat, because if you're not gonna get extraordinary kind of wickets like Rashid Khan does, then you better have some another skill. And he's not a great fielder. That can be developed, but batting might get him a very longer run than he usually gets. Even
Yeah,
in last match, he did not look lethal. His economy might seem really low, but that was never his part. That was never his role to stop the economy. His role was to always pick wickets. If you're not
hmm.
picking up enough wickets, then there is no place for you in the team.
Yeah, true. Third Man Cricket Show says, great to see Kaustubh representing TTMCS. Yeah, great to
Always a
have him
pleasure.
on the show at last. Yeah, but let's talk about South Africa batting, because Quinton de Kock and Janema and Malan was unstoppable for the Indian bowlers, especially Jasprit Bumrah. Yes, compared to the first ODI, he didn't was not that much effective with the ball. But you need to give credit for the South African batsman, and especially that 132 run partnership between Malan and De Kock.
Yeah.
Yeah. Your thoughts on this top three batsmen, especially Malan, De Kock, and Bavuma in this match, because they were really outstanding. Seeing Malan's innings also 91, and his runs also his wagon wheel.
Yeah, I think just as I said at the beginning, I think first 20 overs showed the what the result will be of the match or the South African innings. Uh, I think the bowlers looked really non-lethal. It looked like the, what can we say, net practice for most of them, because they were taking it really casually. They were tonking the ball when they wanted to. The balls were also given to them on the slot, so it more of a feel like a net practice other than the match, maybe a warm up match, because they were really casual. They were not really hungry. They were not really running. They were
Yeah,
what can I? Scores were being scored for the fun whenever they wanted. I just feel like wanting to score a four. They were tonking
yeah,
the ball. Now we can hit a six maybe. They were tonking the ball, and that's how the Indian bowlers were taught that day. And
mm,
the wagon wheel shows everything that we want, because you can see 10, 19, 25, 13. So the whole ground was used. It's not just one side of
yes,
the ground or not a
yeah,
technical aspect. They were tonking all over the place,
mm.
and really bad day for office.
Yeah, and Ayan has said a good valid point here. I am impressed with Babuma's captaincy. Babuma used his bowlers well against strong Indian side. Indian team is missing Virat's aggression in this side. We are always not talking about Babuma's captaincy, because especially in the 2020 World Cup, who expected South Africa to win four matches in the 2020 World Cup? They were very, very close to qualify to the semi-finals, and unfortunately because of the net run rate, they lost out. But Bavuma as a captain has been really impressive in these last few months, and he's a very knowledgeable captain, actually, with the placements that he's making, the tactics, the bowling rotations. He's sticking to a good plan. So your thoughts on Bavuma's captaincy, especially compared to KL Rahul? Seems like Bavuma is really, really good as a captain.
If you compare to KL Rahul, any captain will look really fantastic. Jokes
Yeah.
aside, Bowma is really a great captain. I think the character was shown when Quinton de Kock refused to take a knee, and even Quinton de Kock said that he's a great captain, he's a great individual, and even Bavuma, when nobody knew what the reason was for omission of Quinton de Kock, came out in his support and said, give the individual some rest, let him talk, and let him give his time. And that really shows the character of one person. When if you see, the initial stance was very, very opposite, or very in the other direction to Bauma, because he stands for
Yes.
Black Lives Matter, and Quinton de Kock blatantly refused to take a knee. But even in adversity, when you can understand the other person or your teammate, and he really
Mm,
said that we are with him, we are as a team, we are with him, whatever he decides, it's his right. And that shows
yeah.
what kind of a character and a leader he is. And I think that translates also into his game. He can really respect his teammates. He values their opinion, and when you play as a team rather than individuals, that gives you results. And technically also, as we discussed, that Virat Kohli's wicket, he really studied Virat Kohli's batting and placed the fielder right where the ball would be, and that
Yes.
almost came, not almost, that actually came to fruition.
Yeah, he plays the flick shot a lot, and especially in the first two days, he
Yeah.
got dismissed in a similar way as well. And maybe Virat Kohli has to correct his technique, especially against in the South African pitch conditions, because it's not easy. I mean, Virat Kohli is in sync. I mean, good form. The thing is, the shot selection that he plays at times is not acceptable at times, like a player from Virat, and especially without his now he's out of captain as well. He needs to show up with some runs, otherwise his place could be also in danger in the future. Who knows what happens with the talent that India has? That's the main issue with Virat Kohli.
I think more than technique, the politics behind the curtain that is going on has affected him a lot. A vacation might do wonders for him. Just be with family. We all know
Yeah.
how much he is in love with his family, and one,
Yes.
ideally one should be. And
Mhm.
I think he really needs to be with the guys he loves, and that could be his family. Just get his mind off of the game completely, because
Mm.
recent debacles and the controversies, the people's opinion on Twitter, that must have really gotten him. He's someone who wears his heart on sleeve, and as animated as seems, and as really uh, theater as it makes on the field, it really affects a person mentally as well when you consider someone's opinion that greatly. I think Virat Kohli needs just a vacation to get his mind back into the game.
Mm.
Twitter
Right.
can really be toxic for a person, and especially in India, where cricket is not just a game, it's a religion, that people can be really, what can I say, classless when they go after a player. And
Yeah. And
That's
especially, I think
really
after
gets
the
me.
2020 World Cup, I think when India crashed out, I think a lot of death threats came to his daughter and
Yeah,
the wife, obviously, and that's really not good to see the side of Virat Kohli. I mean, need to respect him as a cricketer also with how he's played for India for this long. Even though they didn't deliver ICC trophy, Virat Kohli is always consistent and he's amongst the runs. And somehow does, I mean, obviously Virat Kohli, that one because of the ICC trophy, I felt that could be the reason why BCCI pressured him to step down. But that's very unfortunate that the Indian cricket fans are not respecting Virat Kohli at times when they lose. Also, not to, I mean, not to back him much often. That could be the case with Virat Kohli. Yeah, but as you said, I think he deserves to have a vacation. With the thing, it's situation going on with him. Yeah, but talking about the bowlers also, I mean, Shankar here says Ashwin a liability in the field, and Shankar says once Washi is fit, I don't think Ash will get a chance more. So because of Washi's batting abilities.
yeah. I think I agree with him 100%. We all know that Ashwin is just a placeholder for Washington Sundar. He would have made a comeback in this series, but unfortunately, again got infected with COVID. For all you
Yeah.
guys out there, just stay safe. Whatever the norms are by set by your government, please follow. So Washington Sundar, we all know that Ashwin is just a placeholder for Washington Sundar. Even in T20 World Cup, because Washington was not fit, Ashwin was given a go. And
Hmm.
yeah, I think whenever Washi is coming back, Ashwin will definitely be seeing the end of it.
Yeah, very true. What's your thought on Venkatesh Iyer, by the way? Because he bowled 5 overs, conceded 28 runs, and with his batting also yesterday, he got cheaply. Do you think once this Jadeja and Washington Sundar comes back, do you think Venkatesh Iyer will get some? I mean, get a chance? Because I mean, he did perform well in the Vijay Hazard Trophy, but seems like he's not grabbing his chance much. And I know it's his first ODI series, but would you back Venkatesh Iyer like for one or two more series and then judge on Venkatesh Iyer, especially in overseas conditions? Because he did well, sort of well in the home series against New Zealand, but for overseas, do you think that he needs more time to showcase his talents and skills?
Yeah, I think India does not have very much options. If you see, Venkatesh Iyer is filling a category that is very rare in India, a rare commodity, a fast bowling all rounder. And at this moment, we have fast bowling all rounders that you can count on the tip of your fingers. There is Hardik Pandya, who can't bowl. He's not
Yeah,
100% fit. There is Shivam Dubey, who can't seem to move his leg while batting. And then there is Vijay Shankar, the curious case of Vijay Shankar, the 3D player.
yeah.
So
Hmm.
the case with Venkatesh Iyer is he also came in as an opener. So if you look at his IPL career, uh, on the basis of which he was picked for national team, he played as an opener there. So if you pick a opener and then play him at the number six position, even though he has said that I'm mentally prepared to be finisher,
Hmm.
being prepared mentally and being prepared on the field are two different things. So
Yes.
performance and mental things, don't always go hand in hand. He might be prepared mentally, but on the field, performing is a different thing. So we need to give Venkatesh Iyer time, and we do have time because
Yeah.
Hardik Pandya is not fully fit yet. So we
True.
can afford to give him time and opportunity till the time Pandya is back. And once Pandya is 100% fit, and if Venkatesh Iyer is performing, then there is a
Hmm.
tussle between the two. And
Yeah.
till then, if he's not performing, then we can just swap the things. See if Hardik Pandya is fit, if he can bowl, and with the bat, we all know how good he is.
Yes.
And if both are performing, India is spoiled with choice.
Mm, very true. Very valid points over there. Yes. Talking about, I mean, let's go back to the Indian bowlers. Obviously, Bhuvnesh, do you think Deepak Chahar will get a chance in the third ODI now, since Bhuvneshwar Kumar hasn't performed well in the first two ODIs? He gives that batting ability also, batting at number 8 and number 9. And we saw in the Sri Lanka series how good Deepak
Yeah,
Chahar was with the bat and scored those valuable 70 runs also. And he can swing the ball and can be a good death bowl option also at times compared to Bhuvneshwar Kumar. Why do you think that Deepak Chahar didn't get a chance yet? Consider, we all spoke about Bhuvneshwar Kumar, but now do you think now Deepak Chahar will get some chances, especially in overseas conditions coming up? I mean, the overseas ODI series is coming up.
I think in last match you don't have anything to lose right now because the series is already gone. So what's
Yeah.
the worst can happen? You get whitewashed. I think. Uh, I think that's a risk that India can take because Bhuvneshwar Kumar into ODIs did not look great. A
Hmm.
slightly controversial opinion. I think Jasprit Bumrah will be rested because the series is
Okay.
already gone and there is
Yeah.
no need for burning Jasprit Bumrah anymore. So I think
Yeah.
Jasprit Bumrah might be rested and Deepak Chahar will come in his place.
Hmm.
And Bhuvneshwar Kumar will get another go because remember Bhuvneshwar Kumar was picked ahead of Deepak Chahar because they wanted to give
Yes.
him confidence or they saw something in him. And in
Hmm.
second ODI he was back because they wanted to give him confidence. So in third ODI also, I think Bhuvneshwar Kumar will be there,
Okay.
just to show that we have faith in you and the courage is not
Yeah.
over with you. And Bumrah
Yes.
might be rested because series is already gone. There is nothing to lose, so there is no reason
Hmm.
to
Yeah.
give extra workload to Jasprit Bumrah. But we'll definitely see Deepak Char in last ODIs.
Yeah. Ayan says Kuldeep Yadav deserves a chance. He can be useful like Shamsi for South Africa. Your thoughts on Kuldeep Yadav? Because I think right now, if I'm not mistaken, he is going to be the captain of his Ranji Trophy team, I
Domestic
think,
side.
next season
Yeah.
for the first time. Yeah. And Kuldeep Yadav also will get responsibilities as well. Seeing on that, Kuldeep Yadav, do you think that he'll get a chance considering Chahal's performances? And he hasn't performed well in the IPL. That's the biggest issue with Kuldeep, but ODIs is a different format. But still, Kuldeep, do you think he needs to perform more in the domestic circuit before coming back?
Yeah, I think he has been a proven performer, but let's not forget why his decline came. He was not
Yeah.
performing and he was not even picking wickets. So
Mm,
like Chahal, your job was same. You can go for runs, but you must pick wickets. Because when you are the spinner who tosses ball really up in the air, who likes to give the air to the ball, you're in return you will definitely go for runs. That
mm,
um, that's the side effect of tossing the balls up, right? That's the
yeah.
collateral damage. But you must pick wickets. If you're not
Yeah.
picking wickets and you're going for runs, that's not going to work. I think
Mm,
Chahal and Kuldeep Yadav both saw decline in picking up wickets, and that's the reason both of them were outcasted from the team.
yeah.
Fortunately, Chahal performed and came back into the team, but Kuldeep
Kuldeep
Yadav could
didn't.
not do the same. And
Yes.
after that, injuries came, and the series, the downfall keeps on going. Hopefully, in this IPL, he can make a comeback.
Yeah, I agree. And before we focus on the IPL now and the latest updates, let's talk on KL Rahul's captaincy, especially. And I want to ask why he doesn't take much advice to Virat Kohli. I mean, Virat Kohli is one of the most successful ODI captains, but when it comes to like taking advices or decisions, I don't see KL Rahul getting much sort of advice from Virat Kohli or what sort of not getting suggestions from Virat Kohli, what sort of field placements he can take, the tactics that he can do, especially when South Africa are cruising along. I'm not seeing that much from KL Rahul yet, even though he's saying he's learned a lot from MS Dhoni and Virat Kohli. We are not seeing him as a captain that he's sort of doing the same as Virat Kohli a bit and sort of just sliding down the game, just letting South Africa cruise along in this match. So, your thoughts on KL's Rahul's captains? And this is a very, I know Rohit Sharma is the permanent captain, obviously, but that will be only about 2 or 3 years. We need to think about the future as well because there are other candidates as well. Maybe Sheryas Iyer might get a chance. KL Rahul, I'm not sure after this ODI captaincy. We can't judge him from only one ODI series, but yeah, still, Kaustubh, your thoughts on that?
I think his captaincy has not been his strong point. He's as great as a captain as he is bad as a batsman. So if you reverse them, he's a great batsman and he's a very poor captain. And we should not take it very personally because even the great Sachin Tendulkar was not a great captain. And
Yeah.
being an Indian captain, there comes a lot of politics that goes behind the curtain. There comes a lot
Mm.
of things that you have to do in order to survive, in order to
Yes.
make the team work. And that's where Dhoni and Virat Kohli were really great, not just on the field, but they were born leaders. If you see Virat Kohli, uh, whenever if you throw him to the wolves, he'll come back as a leader. Even
Mm.
same with the Dhoni. They both had different styles, but one thing
Yeah.
in common between them was they were leaders. And if you see KL Rahul, he's the guy for the team. He's the perfect follower you can find. He's not the perfect leader. He's not
Mm.
someone who will lead the team, but he's someone who will walk to death for you. He's a great
Yeah.
soldier. I
I
think
agree
if
with you.
someone is there as a leader in Indian team right now, I think that's Jasprit Bumrah.
Mm.
Jasprit Bumrah
I
is temperamentally, analytically, he's the perfect guy to lead India.
agree.
I think
I completely agree with that. Yes,
we,
but the
we should
problem is
look.
because of his fitness and because he's a fast bowler, they feel like
Yeah,
BCCI feel like they can't give him captain right now, because who knows that he can play all 5 matches, and if he gets injured, because he's a core of Mumbai Indians also, if suddenly something happens to Jasprit Bumrah,
Yes.
they don't have any solution for a captain than him. That's the whole point of
I
Jasprit
think
Bumrah not
main
being captain, in my
the main
opinion.
challenge with Jasprit Bumrah being a captain is they are trying to manage his workload. So when
Hmm.
you are trying to manage someone's workload, most of the times he will be unavailable for the series.
Yes.
And I
Yeah.
think that's something that BCCI is not really looking keen on. But then again, nowadays, even by the end of his captaincy, Virat Kohli seemed to take too many breaks and
Hmm.
was eventually trying to pass on the torch. But
Yes.
I think that can be managed. Even Pat Cummins is a captain now, right, for Cricket Australia.
Yes.
So why
Oh,
not just
yeah.
if he's good enough, let him have his captaincy.
Hmm. I agree. Yes. Shankar here says Bishnoi can be tried for Chahal in home series. Your thoughts on Ravi Bishnoi and his emergence also in the cricketing arena now, getting picked by Lucknow, and now Bishnoi seems to be a very talented bowler, a very talented spinner. I watched him last season for Punjab Kings also. He seems to be a very, very good bowler. So your thoughts, maybe he can get a chance in the future?
Yeah, I think he can get a chance, but we have to think twice or thrice before fast tracking up a young player into the team,
Yeah.
because most of the times the case is you're once done, then you're done in Indian cricket.
Mhm.
When you're a population of 1 billion,
Yeah.
there always be excitement to try new options. So if you see Rahul Chahar is there, Mayank Markande is there, Shreyas Gopal was there. So there is always a curiosity, if this guy can do good, this guy can do good.
Hmm.
So when Venkatesh Iyer was not playing, people wanted him to play. When he's playing, people don't want him to play, and that's
Yeah.
always will be the case. So we have to be really careful when we bring a very youngster into the team. At
Hmm.
19, at 20, it can either break you or make you. And most of the
True.
times, it has not been really great for young players if they have failed. If you have
Yeah.
succeeded, it's great. But if you don't succeed, it really comes hard down on you. So we have
Hmm.
to be really careful. We have to be really protective of him in what matches we play, what role we give him. And if done properly, that can be a really great experiment. But if done really poorly, we can might lose out on a great talent. So it has to be done, but very carefully.
Yeah. So we spoke a lot on the second ODI, third ODI in Cape Town. Do you feel India will make a comeback somehow, or do you feel this could head to a whitewash for South Africa right now with how things are going?
As an Indian fan, I would like to the series to end on 2-1 note. But
Yeah.
as a cricketing fan and as a cricketing viewer, I think the series is better off 3-0, because South
Mm.
Africa also needs the rejuvenation.
Yeah.
The country has seen a lot in terms of cricket. They have gone through a tough transition period, and they
True.
deserve all kind of happiness and success in ODI crickets or in cricket. So I
Yeah.
think 3-0 for South Africa is really better as a cricketing fan. But as an
But this
Indian
is
fan,
not
I would
part
like
of
to see.
the ODI Super League table also, so South Africa can
Yeah,
go and
I
experiment
think this
a few of the
I think this
players.
series is not part of it, the ODI Super League, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But South
Yeah.
Africa
Definitely.
really
Yeah.
deserves something great for their team as well. They have been really
Mm.
struggling a lot. The bad days were more than enough for them, but right
Yes,
now
I
they
agree.
deserve some happiness.
I agree. Let's go to the IPL news coming up. So obviously, they have brought up the Indian and overseas players for at base for 2 crores. I think we have key players missing from the IPL mega auctions. Yeah. For Indians, I think Ashwin, Chahal, Deepak Chahar, Shikhar Dhawan, Sheryas Iyer, Dinesh Karthik, Kishan, Bhuvneshwar Kumar, Padikal, Krunal Pandya, Harshad Patel, Suresh Raina, Ambati Rayudu, Mohammad Shami, Shardul Thakur, Robin Uthappa, Umesh Yadav. Speaking about the Indian list, it seems like a few
Yeah.
players might not be sold for 2 crores.
No.
Seeing this kind of list, especially with some old players coming back on this list, like Uthappa or even Suresh Raina, maybe might not be sold by any team coming up.
I think there are more than enough players who will go unsold at that price. 2 crores, that's not going to work for some players. They
Hmm.
might be able to be brought back for a third round of auction when
Yeah.
the fasting is going on, and they might be bought at 1 crore at the last resort, as a last resort. But at 2 crores,
Yeah.
there seems to be a far-fetched price for some of these players. And
Yeah.
there are few players that I can just glance at and say, they will go unsold for 2 crores.
Hmm.
But then again, IPL auction is a really volatile place. You never know what can happen. I
Yeah.
have seen a player like Jaydev Unadkat go for 11 crores, and I have seen a player like Chris Lynn go for 2 crores. That is a base price. So IPL
Yeah.
auction is a really volatile place. Nobody can predict it.
Very true on that. Yeah, and overseas, I think Mujib Al Rahman, yeah, Mujib Zadran, Ega, Nathan Coulter-Nine, Pat Cummins, Josh Hazelwood, Middlemarsh, Steve Smith, Matthew Wade, David Bond, Adam Zampa, Shakib, Mustafizur Rahman, Sam Billings, Shakib Mahmood, Chris Jordan, Craig Overton, Adil Rashid, Jason Roy, James Vince, David Willey, Mark Wood, Trent Bolt, Lockie Ferguson, Quinton de Kock, Marchand de Lang, Faf du Plessis, Kagiso Rabada, Imran Tahir, Fabian Allen, Dwayne Bravo, Evan Lewis, and Odion Smith. Very interesting list over here for overseas as well. And some players I feel like not suited for 2 crores also, seeing the overseas list also over here.
I, I'll tell you something. Aston Agar, uh, Matthew Wade,
Yeah.
Sam Billings, Sakib Mahmood, if I'm not wrong, Sakib Mahmood,
Yeah.
Willie, Merchant Delange,
Mm.
and Fabe, Imran Tahir. I think these 7 players are way too ahead. I, I, I,
Yeah.
there is no chance that they are going for 2 crores. At least
Yes.
if they come in marquee players or if they come in first slot, that's game over for them. They are not gonna get sold at 2 crores. Especially Aston Agar. I'm not sure what he's thinking. I can give you at least 10 players right now who fulfill the same criteria: left arm
Mm.
seamers and left arm batters. He's
Yeah.
I'm not sure what he's thinking about. Uh, for
Mm.
2 crores, Aston Agar.
Even Craig Overton is very surprising for 2 crores. I'm not seen much of Craig Overton. Mainly in Test cricket only I've seen Craig Overton also performing. So that's also a big surprise for me for him coming at 2 crores as well.
I think for Craig Overton, it seems fair because he is very rare commodity. So if you see Sam Curran, Ben Stokes, Jofra Archer, they have pulled out of the auctions.
Yeah.
So there are very few all-rounders who can bowl fast and bat as well. So
Mm.
that might actually help him to get sold at 2 crores. So I'm not really counting out on Craig Overton because he is very rare category. And
Yeah.
even Chris Jordan for this season, he might actually go for 2 crores.
Yeah.
But other than that, I think rest of the players are really far ahead. These 7 players that I counted. I'm not sure Sakib Mahmood. I have not seen much of him, so I won't like to
Yeah.
comment on him. But some of these
Yes.
players are really far fetching their prices. Shakib Al Hasan definitely for 2 crores.
Hmm.
Even Mustafizur Rahman.
Mr.
But
Rahman.
Aston Agar, I'm not sure what he's thinking.
Yeah, very true on that. And we'll talk about the players that are also not, not in the auctions this time. Chris Gayle, ABD, Chris Morris, Jofra Archer, Ben Stokes, Mittelstack, Chris Boak, Sam Currant are now going to are going to be absent for this IPL mega auctions. Some big names over there going to miss the IPL auctions. Your thoughts on that, especially the English players? I mean, they want to focus more on the even Joe Root is not there. So thoughts on most of these players who are not part of the mega auctions this time?
I think they are far too emotional right now. The English players, they're trying to find a scapegoat or a soft target to aim at. I don't think that IPL is the reason that they're not doing well in Test cricket. Because if that was the case, New Zealand won't be the World Test Championship champions.
Mm.
Even Australia would be struggling. But that's the same team that has muddled the English team through the ground. And
Yeah.
I think that's the case of soft targeting. Chris Gayle, AB de Villiers, Chris Morris, rightly they have retired, so they can't be in the pool, and that's it for them. And
Mm.
that's fair enough. If they think that they can't, keep up the same level of athleticism that they were doing, then it's fair for them. Mitchell Stark has been, I think, 7 years he has not been part of IPL auctions, and
Yeah.
nobody seems to be missing him. So that's also okay. But Archer, Stokes, Chris Smokes, Sam Curran, I think that they're a little bit too emotional. Sam Curran also I can understand because that poor fellow was supposed to be in the Ashes team, but unfortunately he got injured just before
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
IPL final.
Mm.
So I can understand him as well. He's a young guy; he wants to make a career for him. But
Yeah.
Ben Stokes, he's been grabbing money from IPL, and now he wants to blame IPL as well. That's too rude.
Very true. Yes. Shankar here says a point about Ashton Aga. He's saying Ashton Aga can bowl in the power play too and a good hitter down the order. I'm not
Yeah,
seeing him
I'm
much
not arguing
performing for
that.
Australia in the 2020 circuit, if I'm not mistaken, on Ashton Aga much. He's more of a test player for me than a 2020.
Yeah, I'm not going to argue with that. I'm not arguing with its skill set, but there are plenty of Indian options in place of him that can be bought cheaply. So if you look at India, we have Krunal
Mm.
Pandya, Akshar Patel, Ravindra Jadeja, Mayank Dagar, Shams Mulani, Ravi Sai Kishore.
Yeah. Did I get stuck or did Kaustubh get stuck? Anyways, we'll wait until Kaustubh comes
Yeah,
back.
am I back?
Yeah, yeah, you were stuck. Yeah, sorry,
Sorry,
you were
I
saying
think
a point.
there
Yeah,
was
you were saying
there
a
was
point.
some yeah. So my point was there are plenty of Indian options who can be bought cheaply, would do the exact same thing. So
Hmm.
why would someone buy someone at 2 crores and fulfill a place of overseas player? So if you look at the auctions, a maximum a team can buy of overseas player is eight, and
Yeah.
out of these eight, if you buy someone like Estenegger, you're automatically declining one skill set that is available in very huge quantity in terms of Indian cricket. So it does not make sense for him to be bought. If you look at Shakib Al Hasan, who was bought, he's far too
Yeah.
good of a player.
Hmm.
There is no comparison for Shakib Al Hasan in that
Right.
category. He can bat at number 3, 4, 5, 6, and he bowls
Yes.
really well as a bowler.
Hmm.
So Shakib Al Hasan is a different case. Aston Agar does not come close to Shakib Al Hasan.
Yeah. And 1,214 players registered for IPL 2022 and 270 capped, 903 uncapped, and 41 associate players. And country-wise breakdown of 318 overseas players also. A lot from Australia. Australia 59, South Africa 48, Sri Lanka 36, England 30. A lot of players this time from USA 14. That's good for USA and Nepal. I mean, Sandeep Labichan might be one player. And maybe from
Yeah.
USA, I think Jaiswal could be option for IPL team to buy this time. Jaiswal from USA, talking about
I'm not
associate.
I'm not familiar with him. I'm really sorry.
Yeah, no
but
problem. Yeah, yeah,
but I'll trust your opinion because you're also avid cricket follower. So I trust your
yeah,
opinion. He might be a great choice.
yeah. But Sri Lankans, do you think a player like Vanindu Hasaranga or even Charit Asalanka might get a chance for the new franchises this time, seeing their 2020 performances? Like the Vanindu Hasaranga number one 2020 bowler in the world, Charit Asalanka, then maybe a Dushman the Chamir. I think RCB are targeting him this time.
Yeah.
Do you see a bit of Sri Lankan players going to be sold, especially MI because Mahela Jayawardene is in that camp? Your thoughts on the Sri Lankan players also this time, because I think zero players were sold last time from Sri Lanka last year, but two were taken. I mean, Chamir and Hasaranga were brought back for the second leg, but this time do you see Sri Lankan players getting attracted by IPL teams?
Yeah, I think Varindo Asaranga is no brainer. I think he's going to be picked definitely. I think one of the teams will definitely pick him. There is no doubt about Hasranga. Even
Yeah.
Dushmanta Chamira is a really good bowler. The only
Hmm.
thing is that one franchise has to be put enough faith in him. If you see many of the English or Australian players, they are just picked for their name. On ground, they don't really perform. So if you see Riley Meredith or someone like I'm not getting his name, the other
Jai
bowler that
Richardson,
Punjab
no?
picked.
Jai
Yeah,
Richardson,
Jai Richardson.
Jai
So
Richardson,
they
yeah,
don't
from
really
Punjab.
perform on the ground that much, but they are just picked on the face value of them. And there are
Hmm.
many players that are going around the circuit who really perform well, but they don't have that big of a name. So
Yeah.
I think the franchises have to be really smart this time. And
Yes.
other thing that you asked, if MI can pick Varindo Hasaranga, I'm really sorry, but I think MI has a really set pattern. They like to play two overseas fast bowlers, one all
Hmm.
rounder and one opening batsman.
Very
So
true.
I think the last Sri Lankan spinner or any overseas spinner that they picked was Akila
Yeah.
Dhananjaya in
Akil
2017 or
Dhananjay,
16.
yes. Yes.
So that was the last player they bought as a spinner overseas.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
I'm not really sure if MI will pick him, but definitely one team is gonna pick Sananga. He's too good of a
Yeah.
player to go unsold.
Yeah, Shankar here says MI will target Hasalanga Chamika. I think Chamika might have a chance, but I feel Chamika's recent performances in the LPL didn't impress me much. But maybe Hasalanga might be a good choice for Mumbai Indians,
I think
especially in the middle order, but could be a reserve option, I think, like a backup option, if I'm not mistaken, on Hasalanga.
Charita Asalanka, I'm not familiar with his body of work, but there is one left arm Chinaman from Sri Lanka. I'm forgetting his name.
Is
He
it
recently
Chandrakant?
did really well. Thiksan, I think
Chandrakant?
Thix.
Ah, yeah, Tikshana. Yeah, Mahesh Tikshana. Yes.
Tikshana.
Yes.
So he also can be a really great pick because left-arm Chinamen are really great, and Tabrez Samshi, I think last year was picked by RCB.
I think he's not
Rajasthan
a
Royals.
left arm. I mean, not left arm Chinaman. I think he's a right arm spinner. I mean, off spinner. Tikshana.
No, I think the left-arm leg spinner. I'm missing his name.
I think it's Sandakan. I think Lakshan Sandakan. I
Ha
think
ha.
you are talking about.
I'm
Yeah.
really sorry for confusing
No,
you
no,
then, but
no worries, no worries, Kaustubh.
there is
That's
a
fine.
Sri Lankan left-arm Chinaman who I've
Yes,
seen bowling, and he really
that's
seems like a great
Sandakan.
deal.
That's
Yeah,
Sandakan. Yeah,
Santakan, I think.
yeah.
So I think he can be a really great pick for IPL team as well because I think from India we have only one player who does that, and that's Kuldeep Yadav. Yeah,
Kuldeep
Lakshan
Yadav. Yeah,
Santakan.
yeah.
Yeah, Are cricket tradition. Right. So Lakshan Santakan can be a really great pick.
Yeah, yeah, Shankar. Yeah, yeah. That's what I corrected him. Yeah, it's not a left arm. It's fine. It's fine, Kaustubh. No problems on that. Yeah. Anyways, I mean, the list goes. Let's talk about the retained players also. By the way, 33 players been retained. Chennai Super Kings, Jadeja, Dhoni, Moin Ali, Gaikwad. Thoughts on Ravindra Jadeja getting the 16 crores? Because I was a bit surprised that Jadeja did get the 16 crores and Dhoni got 12. I mean, Dhoni, I thought that he might get a lower price and maybe Gaikwad will get a higher price, in my opinion. But Gaikwad just got 26 crores. So, yeah, your thoughts when the Jadeja deserves 16 crores in the first place with how
Uh,
he's performed? I mean, I also have a question on that. Yeah, that's what.
I think if you see between the four players, Dhoni is going to retire soon.
Hmm.
So the thinking was that whoever the best player among these three is, we have to give him the best contract. And
Yeah,
the rules were put in place such that you have to give one player at least 16 crores. And if
yeah,
you see between these four, I think Ravindra Jadeja was the best option to give 16. So
mm,
that's something that they can't control. So 16 to Ravindra Jadeja. And the
yeah,
thought behind MS Dhoni, lots of people are saying, I don't agree with the opinion there, but the lots of people are saying that if MS Dhoni is gonna play one season, that
mm,
automatically releases 12 crores of purse for the next season to go into the
true.
auction. So they
Yes.
might actually retain MS Dhoni at 12 crores, release him next year, and they still have a big purse to play with. But
Yeah.
having said that, what about now? Don't you need
Mm,
that money right now as well? So I'm not really confused. I'm not really sure what the logic is, but
yeah.
to some extent, I can see why 12 crores was given to MS Dhoni. And also,
Mm, yeah.
when you are such a big brand, you can't really settle for less money. The management team will
Mm.
have a lot of headache. The company that manages MS Dhoni. So
Yeah,
the
Shankar has a valid
brand value
point
has to
over
be
here. He's saying when Pandya goes for 15 crores, why not Jaddu at 16 crores? Jaddu will captain CSK. Yeah, that's a very valid point, and yeah, can't argue with that. Yeah, but
yeah.
DC having the lowest purse over here, they've gone with Pant, Aksha Patel, Prithvi Shaw, Noikes, several players. Obviously, Sheryas Iyer wanted to leave DC, so that's fair from the DC camp, but no Shikhar Dhawan, no Ashwin. Lot of players missing in the DC. No Rabada. So yeah, DC. Do you think now with the lowest purse now? And being a DC fan myself, also I'm a bit worried here. 47.5. I mean 0.5 crores lower than CSK, MI, and I think I can't remember the other team. I think two teams, yes, with 48. Yeah, with DC, do you think they went with the right options right now with all round like Aksha Patel, who can he's a left arm batsman, left arm spinner, can he's a finisher also. Rishabh Pant is a really good finisher, but captaincy wise, I'm not quite confident with Rishabh Pant than Sheryas Iyer. And yeah, your thoughts on this four picks from DC also?
I think Shikhar Dhawan was gonna anyways be in auction because at 35, it's really slim chances of being retained. If you see the
Mm,
list, only
yeah,
very few players are retained that are post 30. MS Dhoni you can't release because that's the brand value. So you
yeah,
can't disassociate. If he's gonna play, he has to play for your franchise. There's no other way. So if
yeah,
you look at DC, there was not much option for them. The minute they decide that Rishabh Pant is gonna captain, despite Shreyas Iyer being back, it was written down in the stone that Shreyas Iyer is not gonna be staying back because if
yeah.
the only criteria for him was let me captain the franchise. I don't
Mm,
care how much money you are giving me. I want to be the captain. And the
yeah,
minute that Shreyas Iyer was back and they did not hand over the captaincy to him, I think the fate was written. So Shreyas Iyer was not going to be retained.
yeah.
The competition comes down to Rabada, Nokia, and Marcus Stoinis.
Mm,
And I think they went with the recent form. And out of these three, I think Nokia was performing for them really well. And
But the issue of
he
Kaustubh
also,
is that Noike was performing well in Dubai conditions, but when it comes to Indian conditions, Rabada was doing better than Noike in the first leg. So
I
that
think,
was a bit surprising for me why they went for Noike instead of Rabada, because Rabada now recently is doing well also for South Africa also, and the bowlers do have a bad patch also, and Rabada has been consistent for DC like for 2 or 3 years. It's just that the last season he wasn't that good, and Noike outperformed him, especially in the second leg. But still, I was surprised when they sort of retained Noike and released Rabada. That's the whole point, because Rabada has been in this team for like 3 or 4 years and has performed well as a bowler, getting 30 wickets, 25
I
or 30.
totally agree with you. I totally agree with you.
Yeah,
That's something that I've missed, and that's a very big problem for them as well, because Rabada is a great bowler. Form is
mm,
temporary, the class is permanent.
yeah,
So I
that's right.
totally agree with you. They should have gone with Rabada as well.
Hmm. Yeah, and talking with MI, I think you can't question this. Rohit, Jasprit Bumrah, Surya Kumar, Kyron Pollard. It was the obvious four picks that were going, but obviously they lose Quinton de Kock. They lose Rahul Chahar is also no longer there. Hardik Pandya. Yeah, so some key players also missing from
Ishan
MI. That
Kishan.
go, yeah, Ishan Kishan. Sorry. So that core from MI, do you think that Mahel and the and the team will go back to that MI core, or will they see a different path now in the upcoming IPL auctions? Do you think that they'll go back to the core and try to get them back?
I think, yeah, definitely. That's always the game plan with the big franchise. So if you see CSK, DC, MI, they usually tend to do the same thing, that they try to buy back their champion team. And I think same with
Mm,
MI, they will try to buy back the same team as much as possible. But at least one player I know for sure they're gonna break bank on, that is Ishan Kishan. There is
mm,
no way in hell that Ishan Kishan is going anything less for 12 crores, and I'm pretty sure that MI is gonna go back after him.
yeah, true.
And
And the biggest
I think,
surprise was that Ishan Kishan wasn't picked by the new franchises. Even
yeah,
Ahmedabad could have
no,
even
no,
gone. And
no, no. That's not a surprise. Two new franchises approached him, and he actually
yeah,
declined the offer from Ahmedabad. So let me tell you
oh, okay,
something. The
yeah,
connection here. So the
yes,
management team, or the firm that manages Ishan Kishan, that belongs to Mukesh Ambani. Mukesh
okay,
Ambani is actually the owner of MI. So the
okay,
minute
yeah,
Ishan Kishan declined the offer, it was pretty much cemented that MI is definitely looking after Ishan Kishan as a potential
mm,
buy in the auction, because
okay,
the management team, when declined the offer from Ahmedabad, why
mm,
would they decline? Because they were giving him a huge amount, something that he will not receive in the auction table.
very true.
So
Yes,
if the
very.
management is rejecting them, then there is certainly another offer from the table, and I
Mm.
think that's from MI.
Yeah, that's very true on that. And talking about KKR also, Andre Russell, Varun Chakraborty, Venkatesh Iyer and Sunil Narayan. Why would they release Shubman Gill? That's my biggest surprise. I know Venkatesh Iyer has done well in the second leg, no doubt about that in the UAE leg. But a classy player like Shubman Gill, and he's been bought by Ahmedabad also. I think KKR were planning to get Shubman Gill, but unfortunately he went to one of the two new franchises. But Venkatesh Iyer, just judging from his second leg, do you think that it was the right move from KKR?
I think Venkatesh Iyer, they bought him very cheaply. They retained him very cheaply because, as we discussed, that there are very few options, few Indian options who can bowl pace bowling and bat as well. So he
Yeah.
probably will open for them.
Mm.
I'm more surprised with Varun Chakravarti, because no
Yeah.
matter how many times they say he's a mystery spinner, that guy
He's
only
not
bowls straight balls. He is not a mystery spinner. So I'm
true.
not really sure why 8 crores have been paid to him. They could have done with
Mm.
very far less and very far
Yeah.
better bowler other than him. So
Yeah.
that's my only surprise. Venkatesh Iyer I can still understand. And Sunil Narine
Yeah.
and Andre Russell, they formed the core
Yeah.
for KKR.
I agree.
So they were obvious retentions. Varun
Mm.
Chakravarti is a very big surprise and scam in my opinion.
Mm. Very true. Yes. Satvik is saying Jaddu is also retained. Otherwise, Ahmedabad would have got Jaddu at 17 crores and would have had no reason to be with CSK.
I think loyalty also matters. I think Jadeja also would have declined the offer from Ahmedabad, like
Yeah.
Ishan Kishan has did.
Mm.
Hardik Pandya's
Very true.
offer was too good to be declined, being captain and 15 crores.
True. Yeah. But Rajasthan, they've gone with Sanju Samson, Josh Butler, and Yashasvi Jaiswal. Three interesting picks, but I feel Rajasthan Royals right now sort of. I mean, they have a higher purse, but I don't know how they'll manage the money. Same with PBKs. They're going with Mayank Agrawal and Ashdeep Singh. They might have a higher purse, but the issue with RR and PBKs, they always mismanage the money. They buy unnecessary overseas players. We saw with PBKs buying Riley Meredith and Jai Richardson. As we were speaking, they didn't do anything in Indian conditions. They were pointless buying for 10 or 13 crores. RR also same issue with Unadkat with Indian placement with Unadkat, then Chris Morris. They don't do any service for RR. So your thoughts on Rajasthan Royals and PBKs and how they'll approach with the auctions also?
I think I feel really sad for Punjab because they tried very hard to retain at least some of the players. I know
Yeah.
for sure that they wanted to retain KL, but KL did
Mm.
not want to stay. They wanted to retain Bishnoi. He did not want to stay.
Yeah.
So there were many people they wanted to retain, but players did not want to be retained. I think there is something behind the curtain that we don't know. The people or the players did not like the franchise altogether. So that's
Yeah.
why whatever they have got, I'm really happy for them as well because
Mm.
most of the mega auctions they have went with clean slate. They have not been
Yes.
able to form a core, but at least this year they have really two good players. So Arshdeep Singh is really great in death
Yeah.
overs as well, and Mangaral the top of the batting order is really great also. So
Mm.
rather than going in clean slate, they at least have two players. So something for them, but they could have written many players, but players did not want to stay. And coming back to RR, I think I was really surprised when they picked Josh Butler ahead of Ben Stokes or someone like Jofra Archer. But in hindsight, after seeing that both of them are not coming, I understand why that decision was made because Josh Butler for sure is gonna come, and he can
Mm.
even lead the team if
Mm.
time comes for. He can be a leader,
Mm.
and I think RR did well in what limited option they had. So
Yeah.
RR has done really well. I
Yeah.
don't think that I would change anything about their retentions because
Yeah.
Ben Stokes and Archer are not gonna be here. So
Mm.
now I can understand why they did not go for another retention.
True.
So I think
Yeah.
RR is
And
a pretty good place. I think they have a
yeah.
core sorted.
Yeah, true. I agree. RCB, I think Maxwell, we saw now with Melbourne Stars how he played that 154 knock and he's performed really well recently for the Big Bash. Do you see Glenn Maxwell actually being the next captain for RCB, or do you think they'll go with a local player like Sheryas Iyer or even Manish Pandey is being discussed right now? Those two players for RCB right now. But their retentions, Chahal wasn't retained. That was the biggest surprise. He was very disappointed when he wasn't retained by RCB. Harshal Patel wasn't retained. So, your thoughts on the RCB retentions and the captaincy issue right now?
I think the case of Harshal Patel is he always knew that he would go for more than 7 crores in the auction.
Mm.
So I
Yeah,
think the decision came from him rather than the franchise, and that's
true.
why Siraj is retained ahead of him. Coming back to captaincy, I think Manish Pandey won't be the captain if he comes in this franchise, but Shreyas Iyer can definitely be the captain because he is
Mm.
a proven customer.
Yes.
In case of Manish Pandey, he is not a proven captain on any front. I think Karnataka he might have done something, but
Yeah.
on big stage he has not been proven as a captain. But Glenn Maxwell he has been proven as a captain. But
Yeah.
it also comes down to how much faith the franchise has in him as a player. So he had
Mm.
a good season with them. Guaranteed, he did really great. Most of
Yeah.
the he actually outdid himself to his best performance in 2014. But
Mm.
how much more he can do is also a mystery in some kind. So we
Mm.
have to see how much faith that they have. They'll also be slightly looking for a captain as well.
Yeah.
But
I
it
agree.
can't be someone who's lower in stature of Virat Kohli and Glenn Maxwell because when you have to captain two big players, you have to be at least in the same league or at
True.
least just a step below. You
Yeah.
can't be two or three steps below. And I think Manish Pandey is two or three steps below both of these guys.
Yes. And talking about SRH, they released David Bond, the biggest player, I think, right now for SRH. Kane Williamson, Abdul Samad, and Malik. I mean, Umran Malik is a good pick, but them releasing Shankar, a surprise for me, Vijay Shankar. Manish Pandey could be a surprise, could not, but Shankar, then David Warner wanted to leave, so that was opted. Saha has been released. When it comes to bowling, Rashid Khan, that was the biggest release, and he's gone to Ahmedabad for 15 crores right now. Not retaining Rashid Khan was a huge thing for SRH. So your thoughts on SRH releasing some big players and changing the staff also, coaching staff. I mean, Brian Lara is now the batting coach for
Batting coach.
SRH. I think Trevor
Belstein.
Bedis is the new coach. Yeah, new coach of SRH. Murali is retained. I think Sanjay also comes as a fielding coach, I think, if I'm not mistaken. So
Yeah.
many changes in that Sunrisers Hyderabad
And
coaching staff also. Yeah.
Every coach has a
Uh,
fancy name as well. So Brian Lara, if you see batting and strategy specialist, there's in
mm,
fast bowling and strategy specialist.
fast
So every
bowling.
coach
Yes.
has a very fancy name
Simon
as well.
Katic as assistant coach. Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think SRH really messed up when they did not retain Rashid Khan. But I think again coming back to the same problem that Punjab had, players did not want to be retained. So if you look at what has transpired in the last season, the players and management did not go hand in hand. David Warner was treated really poorly. I think that has affected team in a whole because
Mm,
David Warner was someone who had carried the franchise for 4 or 5 years on his own
yes.
shoulders. And if they can treat him very badly, they can treat anyone very badly. So I think the trust between management and the players was non-existent because of that. And I think
Mm,
that's the result that they could not retain any of the good players because the players did not want to be stayed with the team. And I
yeah.
think that's the result of it. Ken Williamson is far too good of a person to say no to anybody. So I think the poor guy has been stuck with the franchise. I just hope him very well, and
Yeah.
he gets what he wants. Because if you go back 2 or 3 seasons, he was even not being treated really great. He was asked to carry drinks despite being captain for one season and leading them to a final. He was asked to carry drinks. So I think the poor fellow has been stuck with the franchise for bad. But let's see what he can get.
Yeah, and the two new franchises we just spoke also before, I think KL Rahul going for the highest price. I mean, has been promoted. I mean, his salary has been increased from 15 crores to 17 crores, the joint highest paid player for IPL along with Virat Kohli. Your thoughts on Hambad and Lucknow, and who do you think is the better team right now based on the three picks right now with the chosen? Small idea, yeah, small.
Between these two, I think Ahmedabad because they got a all-rounder. I know the
Yeah.
Hardik Pandya is not really doing great on the bowling front, but fitness can be worked upon, fitness can be regained, form can be regained. What
Mm,
he presents as a player is very rare. So Hardik
yes.
Pandya, Rashid Khan, and Shubman Gill, a very deadly combo. If you see player skill by skill, they both are same. So you got a opener. Ahmedabad got a opener in Shubman Gill. Lucknow got a opener in KL Rahul. They got a leg spinner in Rashid Khan. He also got leg spinner in Ravi Bishnoi. They got a
Yes.
all-rounder, fast bowling all-rounder in Marcus Stoinis. They also got a bowling all-rounder in Hardik Pandya. So skill
Yeah.
by skill, they are matched. But I believe slight edge towards Ahmedabad. But they at
Yeah.
least have a social media account, right? How are you
Hmm.
gonna publicize your things on social media without having an account?
Yeah, very true. Yes, and I think Ahmedabad they have Ashish Nehra as their head coach. Then Lucknow has Andy
Very poor
Flower as
choice.
their head coach. Yeah, Vikram Solanki as their batting coach. I think Ahmedabad and Ashish Nehra as the head coach. Ahmedabad, I don't know with how Ahmedabad are going to face with Ashish Nehra, Vikram Solanki, and one more name I can't remember. I think Gary Kirsten also is in that slot.
No,
No,
I
I
think
think
Gautam
Ahmedabad.
Mandir is their mentor. If I'm
Yeah,
not
they
wrong,
meant
Gautam Mandir
yes,
as mentor.
very interesting
No, no, I
coaching
think
staff for
that's for
Hambad.
Lucknow. I'm sorry.
Yeah, for Hambad, very interesting choices with Ashish Nehra as their head coach.
Very interesting. If to be very polite, because I remember Ashish Nehra doing one thing. I think it was RCB versus MI, and
Mm,
so the whole career of Hardik Pandya started when he smashed Pawan Negi for 3 sixes, and that's how he
yeah,
was, spotted by many of the guys behind the scenes in BCCI.
yeah,
That's when the spotlight was thrown at Hardik Pandya. And after so many years, I think similar situation came again. The history repeated itself, and I think Virat Kohli was going to throw ball to someone else, but Ashish Nehra, the mastermind, he is came to the boundary, suggested Virat Kohli that give ball to Pawan Negi, and Hardik Pandya did the best he can. He hit 3 sixes for Pawan Negi, and
yeah,
ended the poor guy's career there. And Ashish
yeah,
Nehra
very
as well
true.
as a coach.
Yeah. And Gary Kirsten is their mentor, and Vikram Solanki is their team director. So a second IPL franchise where the trio will work together, and it was the previous was with RCB. So Ahmedabad trying to copy a bit on RCB right now. We don't know whether it will work or not based on their auctions. Only we'll see. But yeah, let's see how Ahmedabad and Lucknow do in this IPL. Before ending this video, just about the venues right now, I think they are planning to have it in Pune and Mumbai. The talks
Yes.
and trying to start on the March 27 is the thoughts. I thought early it's on the April 2nd, but they are checking whether UAE, South Africa, and Sri Lanka can host also because of the COVID situation there. So thoughts, what will actually happen? I really don't. They're trying their best to do it in Maharashtra, if I'm not mistaken, and host IPL. But will it be better if they host it in India this time, comparing to
Yeah.
overseas suggestion?
I think if they want, they can completely host the IPL in Mumbai itself. Mumbai has three international level stadiums. So there is Brabourne Stadium, that belongs to CCI. And then there is Wankhede, obviously, MI's home
Yeah,
ground, and then there is Diya Patil, on which 2010 final was played. 2010 IPL final was played, and that stadium is really up to the international standards. So I think if they decide, BCCI decides, they can host in Mumbai itself, because even in Abu Dhabi they sorry, even in Dubai they were playing in three stadiums only. So that can be worked upon, that can be done. And
yeah,
then there is stadium in Pune. Then there is
yes,
stadium around, I think, one small stadium that's not mention worthy, but then there are plenty of options to just get the thing done in Maharashtra and Mumbai.
yeah,
So if we say decide, they can do it. The only thing is how the transport will work, because in India, especially in Mumbai, Mumbai is very famous for its traffic.
yeah.
So the
Traffic,
transport
yes.
is the only option, the only concern for them. Other than that,
Mm,
everything is sorted for BCCI.
yeah, very true. But do you think they'll go with the overseas option, maybe South Africa or Sri Lanka, if the things don't go well with the COVID situation over there in India? Do you see
I
that
think
happening?
I think most probably Sri Lanka has a better chance. I'm not sure what has ticked them off with UAE. Why they are not talking about it? I mean, Dubai,
I think that's off,
they
I think, right? They were going with UAE, but I think that's off right now with the
yeah.
UAE option.
So
I
I
think
think
because
the
that,
only yeah, I
yeah.
think the only concern was with the Duke, because the matches were going one side. You win the toss,
Yeah,
you
they
win
have
the
said
match.
UAE was eventually rejected on the grounds that dew will be a major factor in April and May in the
Yeah.
Desert Kingdom, and the results of
Yes.
the matches are largely influenced by the toss, with teams betting first having a major disadvantage. And they have pointed out the 2020 World Cup not to be a good factor because of this toss factor coming up. Yeah,
Yep.
so that could be the reason, yes, that they have opted out. Yeah, but I feel Sri Lanka is a good option. But again, the problem is with the COVID situation also over there. That's the biggest issue
Yeah.
when it comes to Sri Lanka and
I
South
think
Africa.
e-
Also, I don't know with those two countries.
even with South Africa, there is the time issue as well.
Yeah,
The COVID situation is real in South Africa as well. Let's not pretend that only Asia is affected by COVID. South
yeah,
Africa is the worst hit country as well. But
yeah.
I think time issue is a big concern with
Time
South
issue is a
Africa.
big problem, yeah. And especially it will be in day games also people don't like, no, I mean 2020 matches are in the night and then people don't watch until 2 or 3 a.m. in the morning,
Yeah.
especially IPL match. So that will be a huge problem when it comes to the timings, yeah. So Sri Lanka might be a likely option, but I think they are doing their best to host it in India this time, which I think
I,
is the most likely to happen, if I'm not mistaken,
I
in
think
Mumbai.
it
They
should
try to
happen
do
in
it.
India.
Yeah,
It's high time. I think last 2 years we have been seeing it being played in overseas, and I think India. I think India as a country we have matured. Herd immunity has been developed as per the
yeah,
reports. The
yeah,
cases are going upwards, but the fatality rate is going
yeah.
downwards. So we can
True.
consider it as fatal as a flu. So if you have flu, you don't worry much about it. I think that's the point where we have landed right now as a
Yes.
country. I think hopefully the same goes for the world as well. Britain recently announced that they are uplifting the restrictions to wear the mask compulsory. So I think as a world we are growing out of the COVID right now, and
Yeah.
hopefully by the end of April May, the problem of COVID won't be there, and I think any country to be hosted will be open. Most likely India. India will be the first choice, but if you want to go in any country, the COVID won't be the reason that we are not traveling the country.
Mm,
So I think we are standing at that point of time. I
yeah.
think we have seen far too much of COVID right now. I think 2 years we have been struggling with it. I think it's
That's
time to say
that's
goodbye
good
to it.
enough. Yeah. So thank you, Sir Kaustav. We covered everything IPL, and I'm so sorry that we went a bit over the
No,
hour.
no,
I
no.
hope you're okay with that. Yeah. But please
Yeah.
do check the Third Man Cricket Show on YouTube and Instagram. Please do follow Kaustav as well on Instagram as well. Great pleasure to talk on the second ODI post match analysis. Thank you so much for coming, and we spoke on the IPL 2022 latest updates as well a bit. That's why it took a bit long. But thank you so much, Kaustav, for coming to the sports breakdown, and hope
No,
to see you collab also for more shows coming up as well.
definitely. Thank you
Yeah,
for inviting me. It has been a pleasure.
yeah, it was great speaking to you. Yes, guys. So please do subscribe the sports breakdown as well if you're a new viewer. We'll be coming back tonight to do the Sri Lanka versus Zimbabwe review with the cricket analyst. So we'll be doing that tonight. So until then, guys, see you guys in the next video. And yeah, please be safe also with the current situations, COVID situations happening, and please be safe right now. And thank you guys, and see you in the next video.